At least two of our questions, task 2 B standard and task 1 in the modelling and problem solving, require us to do scatterplots. Scatterplots are a type of graph which we use to consider whether there is a correlation between two sets of data. You should look up the word correlation for a better definition, but put simply it means, is there a relationship between two sets of data that are paired together? So for example, you can see on this sheet I've got a class's mark in history, and alongside that I have their mark in English. So this is the first student, they get an 11 and an 8. The next student gets an 11 and a 9, all the way through to the last student who gets a 22 and a 22. And what I'm trying to see is if there's some relationship between achievement in English and achievement in history. So let's see how we do it. We click on our numbers, so we have all of them selected, and then we come over here to insert chart. When we have a look at the options, this is the one we want. This is called a scatter plot. So we click on that, and then we're going to customize it. So to customize it, we're saying that it is English and history. And then we want to have a look at what are these. This is going to be the history. This is going to be the English, because remember that our X is first and our Y is second. This is the X-axis, this is the Y-axis. You should remember that from your science. So let's have a look what we're going to do. The horizontal axis is the English marks. The vertical axis is the history marks. Now from here we have to use some of the functions of our spreadsheet. So we're going to scroll down until we get a thing called, have a look at it, trend line. And what we want is a linear trend line that's going to be a straight line. Now, it's called a trend line or a line of best fit. And when you have a look there, that line goes through all the middle of that configuration of dots. Now, if all the dots are quite close to the line, we consider that there is a good or a strong correlation. If the dots weren't close to the line, we'd say that there wasn't much of a correlation, or there was a poor or a weak correlation. There's a couple of other things that we can do. We can actually have a look down here and go use equation. And that's an equation that tells us how we can use that line to make predictions about English and history. Remember, the English is the X, so if I said a person got 18 for English, we'd put an 18 in for that X and we could work out what the Y value was. And that would be a way of predicting what their score was from history based on their English mark. Or simply we could just rule a line up from the 18 and then take it across to the mark for history, and it looks like it's going to be quite similar. Now, that's all we need, but if we wanted to do one more thing just to see how close our spreadsheet thinks it is, we click on this thing that says show R2, and we can see we have an R2 value of 0.944. Now, the closer that number is to 1, the closer it is to being a perfect correlation. So you can see it's a very strong correlation. This would suggest that if a person does well in English, they would also do well in history. You'll need to be able to use this type of chart and be able to explain correlation to answer 2 of the questions from the assignment. Good luck with that. Oh, and sorry, one more thing. Click Insert, click the drop-down menu, go Copy Chart, and now you can paste it into your assignment.